Hey, this is Rob again with Mongrel Beads. So I want to show how I do my current cutout frames. A lot of guys will grab a frame and a bunch of rubber bands and you kind of put the comb in there and then you slide the rubber bands on. And that works. I've done it before. It's a pain in the butt. The reason being is that a lot of those videos, there's two people. Most of the time I'm doing it by myself. I'm many times way up on a ladder. Trying to stay on a ladder, cut, comb, put it in a frame with rubber bands, all while you can't use your hands because you're on a ladder, it's pretty much impossible. So guys will sometimes take it down. I do a lot of stuff on the ladder. I'll strap my BVAC, a platform. I'll pretty much try to get everything set up just as if I was on the ground or on a small ladder. But it's getting the comb, especially the larva, inside a frame is the hardest part. If it's honeycomb, I'll actually drop it in a bucket. So I try to put very little actual honeycomb in the hive that I'm cutting out. The reason for that is a lot of times the honey will drip down and it'll trap the bees. It can suffocate the brood. Worst case scenario, if I was able to find the queen and do well there and put her in there, I would hate for dripping honey from honeycomb to actually capture her and suffocate her before they could clean her off. So I don't put any honeycomb in my in the box where I cut the actual brood out. Only brood goes in that box. So a separate bucket will be hanging on the ladder, and I'll drop all the honeycomb in there. I'll shake or vacuum the bees off. The way that I do, like when I'm way up on a ladder, I'll actually do this frame. This is called a clamshell, or at least what I call it. But it's got wires in it, and you basically bind it together, a little piece of wire here and a nail that's sticking up, and I'll just wrap it, and boom, I'm done. These are very, very easy to use on a ladder. They're my favorite. Unfortunately, they're a pain in the butt to make because you gotta cut them down the sides, you gotta build a hinge, all of it's a pain. I came up with this other idea years later, and it's very easy. I'm very happy the way this one works. So I'm going to show you part of the process, and grab some glasses. And all right, so we'll start this one. Here they are. The way I've already started it. I don't know if you can even see the wire. It's pretty hard to see. This is a regular embedding wire that you would use for wax. And it's just got a zigzag pattern. And I'll staple it and then just flip it over that staple. And I started at the beginning just to get this started. One thing when you start it at the very beginning, and I'll show a close up here in just a second, is you want to start it, then flip the wire over and then staple it again. So you're basically double stapling. So I'm here at the end, I'm doing the same thing. I flipped it over and now I've double stapled it. And I'll give you a close up here in just a second. All right. Now, I hate it when it does that. Oh well. Here's the close up. You can see that it's folded over and then it's stapled again. I just kind of fold that out of the way so it doesn't poke me. All right, so one whole side has the wire. All right, the other side doesn't have any wire. Now at this point, you could still use the rubber band method. You could lay it on these wires and then use the rubber bands. Bees would chew through it. But what I actually do is I'll use the other side as a template, and I can see where these wires are. The other nice thing is with the nails, I think these are 3/4 inch nails. You could get by with 1/2 inch, but I'm gonna go through and use the 3/4 nails. And you don't nail them all the way through. So you make them at the same as the opposite side where the intersection points are, but you don't nail them all the way through. And I'm gonna cut this short a little bit just so you can see how we do this. So that first nail, we're gonna actually pull out the wire, which now is a big spool of mess. It's gonna lock up on me in a minute. All right, I need to build a holder for it. Wrap the nail about 3 times on that very first one. Nail all the way down. Now, this first starting nail is locked in. All the rest of these we are not gonna nail. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take this wire and do the zigzag, okay? At the very last nail, I'm gonna wrap it again. So like this one, I would wrap. And then I'll clip it off. And what happens is, when I'm up on the ladder, I start where it's wrapped a little bit at the end, I unwrap it, and I unzip these wires. Now I've got this one log wire, but even if your gloves are covered in honey and pea guts, you are still able to grab this wire pretty well. So I'll take it, I'll unwrap the wire. Now I've got this long wire kind of hanging down from where I'm at, but I have these stable wires that are stapled in. And I will take my honeycomb and I will just lay that in on these wires. I'm trying to see if there's any way I can fake it, but let's just say that this was the honeycomb. It would be never that perfect. Anyway, you lay it in there and now it's supported. God, I know I've got another piece in here. But you would lay it in there, it's supported like this is a piece of honeycomb. You can see it's just floating there on the wires. Once all the pieces are in there and oriented correctly, make sure you don't put it in upside down. It's a pretty easy mistake to make. Then I come back and I just rewrap the wire. Now it's in there stable. I don't have to worry about rubber bands. The bees, they will sometimes die along the wire because they can't get in there and feed them, but everything else is in there and stable. And then later on, I can undo the wire, take that comb out, and I can reuse this frame. I've reused these frames quite a bit. They are the second best way to do it. First best is a clamshell frame like this, but again, huge pain to make. Super easy to use. This one is almost as easy to use, but super easy to make. You just glue a regular frame together, you staple one side with wire and then the other side, do these posts with nails, and zip, 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 and I'm done. I can pop this into my hive body, and I don't worry about, a lot of times with the rubber, the comb itself will kind of flop to one side or the other if it's really heavy. The wires really hold it in there. They, since they're actually tapered because they go to the bottom, as that comb falls down, the wires kind of cut in and grab it even better. So I'm a huge fan of this method. I don't know if anybody else has done it before. Great if I invented it, but I doubt it. I'm sure somebody's figured this out. But it's the way I do it, and it makes it super easy. So thank you for watching, and if there's something else you are struggling with or have a question about, let me know, and maybe I can make a video. Thanks. Bye.